Hiya. What if I told you that one of the best pet lizards you could get was one that you might not have considered or even heard of? In the world of reptiles, it's the same species that come up over and over again, but if you stick to that mainstream, you're going to miss out on some amazing, intelligent, curious species. Today, we're going to talk about the frilled dragon, or the frilled night lizard, or the frilled night dragon. Whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. This is Paul Robinson, and in my opinion, he's one of the best kept secrets in the reptile world. When you think of a lizard, you probably instantly think of a bearded dragon or a gecko. These guys are amazing. Even if you have heard of them, they're often overlooked because of the special care and requirements that these guys need. But they're not that difficult. For those willing to rise to the challenge, you're going to get one of the most intelligent, most dinosaur looking lizards that you can imagine. It's like having Jurassic Park in my hands. So let's uncover the secrets of these guys and see if they're the right pet for you. For intelligence and interaction, this is where the frilled dragon really shines. When I walk into the reptile room, they know me. They come to the glass, not just for food, and while some other reptiles might be fairly inactive between feeds, and some of my boas, for example, they could be dead. They're just laying in the same spot for days. They're not. I do health check it daily on all my animals. So similar to my blue-tongue skink Vegemite, this guy, he knows my routine. He knows what day it is because I'm not sat at my desk on the weekends. But he knows that he's going to get extra playtime on those days. He will come to the glass. He hasn't quite managed knocking, but he makes his opinion clear. He knows he wants to come out. It just doesn't get more amazing than this. And just like their doppelgangers in Jurassic Park, he watches me. He tracks me around the room. He watches the cats through the glass. He's brilliant. And let's flip that round. I know what he's thinking. I know from his body language exactly what he wants. If he's hungry, he climbs up to the top of his big branch and he makes it very clear that he's hungry. He will sit in his feeding place. If he's basking and wants to be left alone, he will lay on one of his vertical branches just under his UV and his heat lamp. If he wants to come out, he runs down to the bottom of the tank and he just peers through the window. So it's easy to read him, and he seems to be able to read me. It's a really rewarding relationship. For a reptile, I'm raving about this guy. But beyond that intelligence, they've also got this amazing display that can't be ignored. So just like that mini dinosaur in Jurassic Park, whose name I can't remember, but I'll Google in a second. So just like that mini dinosaur in Jurassic Park, the frill. Just look at this. Oh my god, that's an impressive display. So while I don't particularly want that to happen in today's video, it would be awesome for you if it did. It genuinely means that they're a little bit frightened or scared or that they are threatening you. They very rarely see it through. He's never bitten me, he's never hurt me, but he has occasionally collared up in the same way that a bearded dragon will beard up when they want to make it known that they're a little bit scared or they're trying to put on a threat display. He will spread his collar. He's done it at a cockroach. I recently, I'm going to share an annoying story about Paul Robinson. I recently changed his setup to Bioactive so that I've got my drainage layer. For those who don't know, I've got a drainage layer on the bottom because they do require high humidity. So I've got a drainage layer of clay balls on the bottom. Then I've got some reptile soil with isopods, worms, springtails, all inside it. So he's got everything, a cleanup crew to clean up his poops. And on the top, it's got some jungle barks and some leaf litter. And he decides he wants to poop in his water bowl now. So I'm like, brilliant. Good result on going Bioactive. Thank you, Paul Robinson. So if you're hooked and you're serious and you really want to go for this, it's not difficult. It just requires a bit of thought. And that first thought is height and vertical. So Paul's getting a new enclosure over the next few months, which is going to be about 6 foot tall. It's a little bit bigger than he has to have, but I think it's a good thing for him. So he's going to get that. It's going to be about 3 to 4 foot wide and maybe 2 to 3 foot deep. So he's going to have plenty of opportunity. He's going to have that nice hot end. And as much as I know, and I really want to go crazy, and I am going to go crazy with some expanding foam and lots of amazing climbing opportunities, ledges, and network of branches so we can get from the top to the bottom and not just take the suicide leaps that he seems to enjoy tragically from the top to the bottom, but he won't be able to do that in a much bigger enclosure. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. I only actually got Paul fairly recently, a couple of months ago, and we've bonded incredibly well since then. He now knows me, and as I said, he's adapted very well. His last owners just couldn't look after him due to ill health, and I also think the enclosure wasn't suitable as well for long term. So it was important. I'm going to be doing a bit of rejigging in the reptile room, swapping out. I've got a very young neonate green tree python who's going to take over Paul's enclosure, and I'm going to have some building fun with Paul. So if you are serious about this and want to get into it, think height, like I said, but also you need that delicate balance between heat and humidity. So Paul tends to like the same spots, but I need that hot ambient top temperature just underneath his basking lamp to be early 40s in Celsius, or about, I'm not very good at this, but about 100, 110 something in Fahrenheit. But yeah, he's got that. And then the opposite end, bottom diagonal opposite, is his sort of cooler end. So they need a bit of width as well as that height to thermoregulate themselves in the way that a bearded dragon will in a 4x2. So they can look after their own heat and thermoregulate themselves. I've just got to provide that heat source, and so have you. So also UV, which is non-negotiable. They do need that. So Paul loves to lay under his UV and his heat, which are quite close together. And it spans the whole width of the tank, just to give him that spectrum and everything that he needs. So a high output T5 cylinder for the UV is perfect. I know there's a lot of LED UV options out there at the moment, and they're probably amazing. I'm a little bit old school. I'll move myself into the future and maybe look at that when I'm building Paul's new enclosure, but I want to read some good reports on it first. But yeah, Paul's doing amazing and he's thriving, and I'm so glad that I got him. And we are going to have a lot of fun making his new home. So that humidity needs to be about 55 to 65. I tend to stick to the slap bang in the middle and go for the 60, and it seems to do Paul a lot of good. So Paul's very happy. He does drink out of a bowl, which is quite unusual because mostly they tend to lick the dew off themselves or off leaves, branches, or as it's coming out the rainmaker. But he also loves to drink from a bowl, which I've seen him do quite a lot considering he's so new. So he's enjoying a lot. You can see him sitting on his branch, and he will drink as the mist is coming through the air, and he seems to enjoy that the most. But then occasionally he just decides, I'm going to go down and drink out of my bowl. Apart from when he's pooped in it, like, yeah. So I touched on this earlier, but what do they eat? Well, Paul mainly at the moment seems to enjoy Dubai roaches. He does enjoy a locust, but he's turned his nose up a few times at them lately. So I'm mixing it up and sticking to roaches at the moment, which works out quite well for me with the beardy and the skink, because they both enjoy roaches as well. So I've got a nice breeding colony on the go and kept with the right heat and humidity for them as well, so that they breed effectively. So they are primarily insectivores, which means that they primarily eat the insects and the bugs. I do mix it up and just give them the occasional treats, mix in some silkworms, some mealworms, some black fly larvae, that kind of thing, just to spice things up for him. He has had the occasional little bit of fruit, and he does get some greens as well, but primarily bugs. But not just empty husks of a bug. You need to also feed your feeders, so they are well fed, so that when Paul comes to eat them, sadly, he's getting all the nutrients from inside them as well as them. So yeah, I gut load my feeders. I breed them quite well, and I make sure that they're fed nutritious food, some ready-made bug grub, as well as some greens as well, which I have to remove at the end of each day just to make stop smelling like death. And as well as that, before they go inside Paul and I offer them to him, I do just gently coat them with some either calcium most days or some vitamin powder. So a juvenile needs to be fed daily, whereas an adult you can feed them every other day. He lets me know when he's hungry. As I've said, he will sit at the top in this feeding spot where he knows he's getting fed. If he's not bothered, he'll be having a little bask, or sitting at the bottom if he knows it's playtime. If you're finding this video helpful, or interesting in any way, I would really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and comment. That would be amazing. Comments would drive the engagement, and liking would be amazing just for mine and Paul's ego. But subscribing would be fantastic. I would really appreciate it, and thank you very much for your help. So this is where a frill dragon, and he's probably not the best example of this, will differ from, say, a blue-tongued skink or a bearded dragon. They can be more flighty, they can be more nervous, and they as babies, they can frill out at you. So if you've seen them in pet shops, they will frill up, and less and less when they're used to people, but they will frill, and they will show their displeasure, or they will run and hide. Hiding and running away is their go-to defense, as well as their neck. They're not really biters, but they are flighty and skittish as babies. But with regular handling, as you will see, this guy could lay on me all day. But if you're getting a baby or an older one that's a little bit skittish or frightened still, that hasn't been handled regularly, just slowly start interaction, whether through the glass or the next week, just gently open the glass and just give them a little stroke. If they don't like it, start again, take a step back, but just gradually build up that socialization. You'll be onto a winning thing. They do come round, and I know I'm making it sound easy with him sitting on my shoulder, he's been in my hand, he's been all over me. It can be easy if you're prepared to put in that time and patience. Little shortcut, hand feed him. Paul loves to be hand fed. Sometimes if he's extra hungry, I will just use a tongue, but occasionally, well, most days if I'm honest, I will hand feed him. He enjoys it, he likes it, it's a nice little bonding time, but I already have Paul's trust. But I think if you don't have that trust and you're taking on a new one, absolutely fine. Give them some hand feeding. Nothing wrong with a little bit of blackmail. When you do start to handle them, you need to scoop them from underneath and make sure that you're not pulling them off their branch. Paul tends to come out when I open the door, he will just climb onto me, and that's great. Makes it very, very easy. But on the times when he's on his branch and I need to do a bit of maintenance or change his water, I need to move him if he's in the way, I will just gently reach under and scoop up and make sure that I'm supporting him. If you haven't got the confidence and the frill dragon hasn't got confidence in you yet, you need to make sure when you're handling that your other hand is covering the top, just to make sure, or at the ready, just to make sure that they're not going to take that leap and jump off your hand onto a hard floor or into a dangerous situation. Handle them near their tank if you're a little bit nervous. Handle them so you could pop them away if they get a bit too frightened, a bit too upset. Then you can pop them straight away. And then there are the occasional ones who you're going to have to accept they're a display only animal. It's an impressive display, an amazing pet. And I'm hoping that isn't the case for you, but occasionally there will be ones who just don't want that interaction. Yeah. So is a frill dragon the right pet for you? I can just hear his breath in my ear. If you've come this far and you're interested, then I'd say yes. But you just need to put in a bit of research, a little bit of time, and look into it and make sure that you can offer them the space and the requirements with heat, humidity, and enclosure size that they need. And if you can, why not go for it? You don't have to stick to the more common animals, and they're popular for a reason. They're bloody brilliant, all of them. I have a bearded dragon, so I'm not criticizing people who go for the norm. But if you want to take on something more interesting, they're not out the realms of possibility. They're not this mystical creature that you can't take on because it's too difficult. It's no more difficult than any other animal. You just need to know and understand and adapt to and give them what they require. So a frilled dragon might be the perfect pet if you're looking for something intelligent, something rewarding, something interactive that gives you something back. They might not be the perfect pet if you're looking for something a little bit simple and you're looking for something without the height or the additional requirements that they need with space. They might be the pet for you if you're willing to train them out of that shyness and you're willing to work with them. They might not be the pet for you if you want an instant buddy that you can get out from pretty much day one. But if you're fascinated by unique and amazing displays and an interactive animal that, for me, can't be beaten in the lizard world, sorry, we'll save that for Battle of the Lizards coming soon, then a frill dragon might be the perfect pet for you. Personally, I can't recommend them enough. All I'm saying is that you need to do a little bit of research and you need to make sure that it's right. So the frilled dragon remains one of the reptile world's best kept secret pets. And for me, I want to shout about how amazing they are. So what about you? Has it sparked your interest? Has it made you want to get one? If it has, let me know in the comments below while you're liking and subscribing. That would be awesome. Actually, do you know what would be even better? Because I cringe inside every time I have to say that. If I didn't have to say it, if you just did it, that would be swell. And then I wouldn't have to say it. I wouldn't feel like I'm dying inside. And you'd have made us both happy. That would be amazing. If you've already got one, tell me about them. I'd love to hear about them. I'd love to hear if there's anything you think I could change and do better. Otherwise, good luck. Let me know if you get one, and we'll see you soon. Oh, I've just remembered. Dinosaurs are Dilophosaurus. See you soon. Hello. If you want to see more of these snakes and the rest of the snakes in the reptile room, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and I'll see you soon.